Welcome back to Module 3. This is Programming in C. I'm your professor, Professor Fiske, and let's get started. We spoke about functions and user-defined functions and very quickly took our code and modularized it by placing it in the void print name function that we created. Now let's talk about function types. Function types are basically just data types that are tied to the function. So in this case, we have two types here. We have an integer and we have void. Now, these two mean things, but let's talk about what they mean. So void means that this function is returning nothing at all. That means that when it fires, you can just call the function itself and it will execute, and then that's it. You don't have to do anything else. You don't even have to ask for it to assign it to a variable because it's not going to return a value at all. So there's nothing to assign it to. But let's say we did want the value back. Well, let's change this for a second. I'm going to leave this function here because it doesn't hurt anybody if we don't run it. But let's write another function called sum, or sum of two numbers. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to parameterize this function with arguments because, of course, I'm going to need the values. So I'll say int x, int y. Now, what am I going to do next? Well, obviously, I need to return something because I have a function type of integer here. Okay? So what that means is, what am I going to return? Well, at the very least, I can say sum equals x plus y, and then return sum. We talked about return being a reserved word, and this is exactly how I would do this. I have to define int sum, and there you go. This is the function that I want to use. Now, how would I use that? Well, what I need to do is I need to create a few variables that I can add these numbers to. So I will say int, and if you want to define a variable, you can say int x equals 0, int y equals 0. You can do this, or you can be big brain and say int x and y both equal 0 on the same line. Now I just initialized two variables at once. Now what I want to do is I want to do something with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send those variables through the function sum of two numbers. Now how would I send those two variables through the functions? Well, I want to make sure that the first number is assigned to the variable or to the parameter x, and I want to make sure that the second number is assigned to the parameter of y. This is not a defined thing, so let's define it. So now we have a variable called int output, which will be assigned the value returned from the function sum of two numbers, first number, second number. Let's run this. What's going to happen? Well, the sum of two numbers in this case is actually going to be, do you guys know? Nothing, because we didn't print it. So let's go ahead and print it instead. We're going to print f like that, and we're going to say this is going to be obviously a number. I don't remember if it's D or I. We'll say D for now. Okay, yeah, D's right. Run, and that's the number. Now, that's not right, because first number and second number are both 0. Therefore, this sum should be 0, but it's not. And the reason why is because I actually want to update these variables. So we'll say this. We'll say first number, for now, we'll say int this should come out as 12. There we go. Because 0 plus 0 equals the storage location. But 6 plus 6 equals 12, and that's the answer that we wanted. So before we go any further, what I actually want to do is debug this with you guys. All right, great. So now here we are. First number is equal to 6. That's fine. Second number is equal to 6, and that is also fine. So now we have first number equaling 6 and second number equaling 6. And then we're taking those two numbers and we're passing them into our user-defined function here, which allows us to add them together and return the sum. Now we're in the function, you can see that how this was like almost automatic, that the first number was assigned to the x variable and second number was assigned to the y variable. I'm calling them variables now because we're within the scope of the actual function. So sum equals x plus y, which is going to result in the sum equaling 12. You can see it here, it equals 12. And now what's going to happen? Well, because this is not a void function, it's going to return the value of 12, which is in the variable sum, here, and replace this function with that value. You can't see that right now because it's not showing it to you, but if we go to the end of the program, 12 is printed and all is well in the world. I want to stop here because there are two more things I need to talk about in future micro lectures, and that's recursion and storage classes. So I'm going to pause here and say, it's been fun. Please like and subscribe. And as I say in all of my videos, good luck. Have fun. Ciao.